Hello, and welcome to Improbable Things. I'm J. Grace Pennington, and this is my podcast where I share 6 improbable thoughts before breakfast, which in this podcast consists of 6 thoughts about reading, writing, or just storytelling in general. So I am up early on a chilly morning with 6 things ready to share with you, so let's get started. So number 1, I ended up doing kind of a last-minute project yesterday and the evening before. I decided, and I should have thought about this sooner, but stuff just creeps up on me and I realize, hey, Valentine's Day is coming. I have a Valentine's Day novella and I'm really trying to get more content on my YouTube channel, so I should record my Valentine's novella and get it up there. So I ended up recording the audiobook for Southeaster Lodge late night before last, and that was quite a journey. And then was able to get it edited and put together and up on YouTube yesterday. So came out early this morning, and that is now available on YouTube if anyone wants to listen to it. The quality turned out much better than my Christmas one, thankfully, since I've been able to figure out some of the recording difficulties I was having. So I think it sounds good, and I really have a fondness for this story. I think it turned out really sweet. And if you don't remember, back when I was writing it, it is a retelling of Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey. So just, if you're looking for a 2-hour, just sort of sweet, classic inspired Valentine's Day story, it is now up on YouTube. So number 2, I am also still working on the In His Image audiobook, about halfway done with recording that one, and I'm going to try to get some recording done tonight, hopefully a big chunk of what's left, because there's some complications I didn't realize. Of course, there always are with getting it actually up, because apparently years ago when I went into the Audible, audiobook creation service and claimed In His Image, I set it up with a contract for exclusive distribution, which I no longer want to do because I want to put it on other retailers and on YouTube as well. So I emailed them to say, hey, can I get that terms of that changed? Because you can change it, but there's some things you have to do and you have to contact them directly. So I contacted them and they said, hey, once you upload your files, we can do that. So that now means I can't. I was hoping to get them uploaded to YouTube, the chapters as I went along, but now I have to get them all done and up on Audible so I can get the contract changed before I can do that. So anyway, all that to say, I'm trying to hurry and get it done so I can get some progress on getting it up where I want it to be. So yeah, continuing working on that. Also continuing to go through TimeStream and figure out what edits I need to make on that one. Hoping to really start editing maybe week after next. Hoping that I'll be ready at that point to start really digging in and seeing what needs to be done in this first big rewrite. So yeah, lots going on. Oh, and I also did reach out to my cover artist about the cover for TimeStream, which I'm super excited about. And he always does such an amazing job with my character art, so I cannot wait to see it. So yeah, lots going on. Number 3, yet another thing that I'm currently working on is trying to get my websites moved over to a different web host, which no doubt sounds very fun and exciting. And I've just been unhappy with my web hosting for a long time, and 3 different people in my life who are very, very knowledgeable, like 100 times more knowledgeable than me about all this website stuff, had all told me, don't use Bluehost, just do not. You should move, while you have an opportunity. So I ended up, getting my domains moved somewhere else, somewhere that was recommended to me, and now I'm working on getting my actual websites moved to the new hosting package that I just bought somewhere else. And thankfully, at first I was just I do not even know what I'm doing. Am I going to have to pay someone to move them? But turned out my new host will move them over for you, which is awesome. But of course, when they tried to do it, they were getting some kind of error, and I had to reach out to my old/current host to get them to fix it for me. And the first people said they fixed it and didn't. And so then I had to be on a chat with the the hosting customer service people for quite a while yesterday. Thankfully, I was able to work on editing my audiobook while I did this, but I will say the second person I talked with was super helpful and knowledgeable and got it taken care of. But it's just always something, isn't it? It seems like no project can ever just go smoothly from start to finish. Although that said, getting that Southeaster Lodge audiobook up really did go smoothly. I did not have any technical difficulties, was able to just get it done from beginning to end. So I shouldn't say that things never go smoothly, because sometimes they do, and I really am grateful for that. But hopefully the rest of the website moving process will be more smooth, but we'll have to see how it goes. So number 4, I know I talk a lot about how my girls love to read and love books, but one thing that's been really funny is seeing my youngest, who is 18 months old. She loves books like all of her sisters have before her, and obviously she can't read and she can't even talk, like she just babbles. But what is so sweet and so fun to see, because she hears us, like me and my oldest, read aloud all the time, she will take books and she'll open them and she'll just start babbling like she's reading them, but she does it in the most animated way. Like she does little voices, she does all the inflections. She'll just like be turning the pages going, like just, it sounds like she's really trying to say something, and it's so sweet. And I just love seeing that, like seeing that she knows that's something that we do, like that her mom and her big sister do, and so it's cool and she wants to do it too. And it's just one of my favorite things, watching her do it. Like she's so adorable, and obviously she gets way too much attention, having 3 big sisters and 2 doting parents, but you know, she's super cute, what can we say? And I think she's going to be just so excited to follow in the footsteps of her big sisters and keep like loving books and reading and being read to and all that good stuff. So number 5, am I currently reading? I'm reading The Distant Hours by Kate Morton. And the only reason, so I think I mentioned back when I was reading The Secret Keeper, or rather rereading it for book club, I think it was year before last, and I read another one of her books, possibly last year, I don't really remember, called The Lake House. And interestingly, we're reading that one for book club this year, so I'm going to be rereading that. But I just really enjoyed them and really liked her writing, and so I've kept meaning for a while to read more of her books, and I just hadn't gotten around to it. So at one point I'm like, hey, I'm just going to grab whatever the library has of hers. So I got one. And then, of course, right when I got it, I end up with like, oh, and now I also really need to read this book for this month's book club, and now my friends and I are trying to read this other book together, so I need to get to that one. So it's just so little time to do so much reading, but I am going ahead and reading The Distant Hours before I get to all those other books. So I'm about more than 3/4 of the way through it at this point, but anyway, I'm really enjoying it. With this kind of book, like in her books, there's always sort of a mystery element that's slowly being revealed, and so my ultimate opinion of the book is going to depend so much on what that revelation is and just how it ends. So I can't say right now, but so far, just the reading process, I think I'm enjoying it more than either of her others that I've read so far. Like, it's just, her writing is really good. Like, I love the way she says things. Like, she'll say things just a little different and in a way that just really pops and makes you think. Like, she described how one character was going through a room trying to clean stuff up and then stumbled upon a book, and it says since this character was pathologically literate, she had to open the book up and read, read a few pages. And I just love that term. I'm like, I'm going to call myself pathologically literate now, because that's just so relatable. And just a lot of things, the way she describes things, and then the way she weaves together some mystery. Like, at first you start reading the story, it seems like a fairly just normal type of thing. A daughter, a strain between her and her parents, some questions that she has, some things she's struggling with. But then slowly, some things start to be revealed and connected, and all of her stuff I've read so far, it's all written out of order. So, you'll find out a little bit in the present and then jump back to one point in the past, but some stuff's left hanging. we go back to the present and then back to a different point in the past. Like it's very, she really chooses what she chooses to reveal in what way and when in such a way that draws you in. Like, and then there was one point fairly early on where I was like, okay, it's clear what happened here. But the more it gets into it, the more you see, like, that's not what's going on. There's something else here that's very confusing in the best way, like the way that just makes you want to know, like, what is happening? Like, what happened to all these people in the past? What was it? There's some kind of event it's alluding to, like, I don't know. But so far, also that can be done in a way that's kind of gets frustrating after a while. And so far, this book is not reaching that for me. It's just spinning this tale that I'm very interested in. I love the characters. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying this one and finding a lot of the, the reading and writing, loving stuff, and then there's some mother-daughter stuff that's relatable as well. And so, yeah, just it's a good one so far. And we'll see what I think when I finish it. So number 6. Last night I was chatting with a friend, my editor, actually, and we were just catching up a little bit and talking about reading and watching TV and stuff like that. And he was talking about a certain the phase that he's kind of in with reading and stuff like that. And I shared how for me, I went through a phase and I'm sure I talked about it on here for like a couple years where fiction just was not really working for me. Like I just kind of pretty much every fiction book I read that year, I think maybe it was like a year and a half, I don't really remember, but just fell flat for me. And I started wondering at a certain point, is this the books or is it me? Like, what's going on? Because I also at the same time kind of stopped watching TV. Like I would occasionally, mostly with my husband, but other than that, I just like would listen to podcasts, or I was enjoying reading nonfiction, more just stuff like that. And that was fine, but it did feel like it was something that I missed because fiction's always been something that I love so much. And it just felt like for over a year, it was just kind of falling flat for me. And then thankfully this year and then the end of last year, I seemed to really be coming out of that. And so we were talking a little bit about that, kind of trying to theorize why it might be. And he was saying, is there some kind of just like burnout with it? And it started making me think, like, I wonder at a certain point if it can be almost like when you're first learning an instrument, if you like practice for too long in like one sitting, at least this is true with piano. When I learned how to play piano by ear, I was warned this would happen, and it did. If you are first starting and you're practicing for a long time, you'll start to get like tone deaf, where you suddenly cannot hear the notes anymore or whether they sound right together or not. And when the teacher first described that, because I went to a class to learn how to, teach myself piano by ear. And so the instructor warned about that, and I kind of had this thought in my mind, like, I don't know about that. Like, that seems like that won't happen. And I'd already been playing music for years, anyway. So I thought, that's not a thing. And then sure enough, one time early on, I'd been kind of working for like an hour, like quite a while, trying to practice some of the new things I was learning, and suddenly realized, like, I can't tell whether these notes sound good together or not. Like, I literally just can't. Like, my ears are not giving me the correct information. Like, it was so weird, especially as someone that has always been really good at hearing, playing by ear, hearing harmony, things like that. And so it was very disorienting. And so he had said, like, when that happens, you just need to take a break, like step away for a little while, don't listen to music, like clear your ears a little bit, and then come back and it'll be fine. And that's exactly what happened. And so, my number one thought that I had in this conversation with my friend that we kind of chatted about was like, is it kind of like that? Is it just at a certain point, your brain is kind of like overloaded, where it just needs almost like to like reboot for a little bit and just be like, I need a way to jump back into appreciating, fiction. And my friend asked me last night, like, if there was anything I noticed that either led into or led out of this season where I was struggling to enjoy fiction. And I didn't really have an answer for what got it started, but I did notice that the thing that helped me get out of that phase was really going back and rereading, rewatching more of my old favorites instead of more new stuff. And those things really did reawaken like that spark, like going back, reading Anne of Green Gables and reading Runt the Brave and rewatching some of my favorite shows, like, from years and years ago, just kind of reminded me, like, I do love fiction, and here's why, and here's what I love about it, and here's what's really good and has impacted me for so many years, and just that kind of thing. And I think having that reminder kind of helped jumpstart me back in, because then since I started doing that for a while, I began to find more new stories and like a few shows I haven't seen before, and books that I haven't read, and newer books and things like that I was able to really enjoy and get into again, and not feel this sort of like bored, why am I doing this? Why am I reading this? Why am I watching this feeling? And so I just thought that was really interesting. Still not like a fully fleshed out theory, but just some little thoughts I was having, and also just a suggestion for you if you ever do find yourself in a season like that where you're struggling to enjoy something that means a lot to you, maybe stepping back and like revisiting those things that really you loved about it in the past might be something that would be helpful, because it was really helpful for me. Thank you all so much for spending time with me this morning. As always, let me know any of your thoughts. If you listen to the Southeaster Lodge audiobook, please let me know. It's just a couple hours long, and hopefully an enjoyable story to get you into the spirit of Valentine's Day. And any knowledge that you have about getting websites migrated that might be helpful to me. Might need some tips about that as well, although hopefully I have my issues resolved. And then if you've read any Kate Morton, particularly if you've read The Distant Hours, I really would love to chat with someone about that book, because it's really taken me on a journey, you guys. And then let me know about your experience with going through phases of just feeling maybe burnout or something along those lines, or something that you love, and if you are able to get yourself kind of out of that slump. Would love to chat about that and why it happens and what we can do about it. So again, thank you all so much for listening. Hope that everyone has a great day and a great weekend ahead, and stay improbable. Bye.